This is the TTC Network, the NFL content platform for real news and ruthless trash talk. Raw debates, bold opinions, and no holding back. If you live for football, this is where you belong. The TTC Network, only the bold survive.
You know, when a team is as big as the Dallas Cowboys, that line between plain winning football and just being pure entertainment, it can get really, really blurry. So in this explainer, we're going to break down a super passionate, totally unfiltered critique from a popular content creator who's asking a pretty tough question. Have the Cowboys become more of a media circus than a team with a serious football culture? Okay, let's get right into it. And boom. This one quote really gets to the heart of it all. The argument isn't just about the wins and losses on the field. It's a plea for authenticity over pure spectacle. The source is basically saying the actual football has taken a back seat to all the off-field drama. Okay, so to really get what they're saying, we have to look at the main diagnosis here. What does the source even mean when they accuse the Cowboys of choosing a circus over having a real culture? The idea here is that none of the stuff we're seeing in the media is an accident. The critique points its finger at people like owner Jerry Jones and star linebacker Micah Parsons and suggests that their public comments are actually designed to break the internet, to keep the Cowboys brand front and center no matter how the team is actually doing.
So the way the source lays it out, a team has two choices. On one side, you've got serious football. That's built on things like discipline, real leadership, and just that hunger to win. But on the other side, you've got NFLE, as in NFL entertainment. That's all about the hype, the headlines, and the drama. And the core complaint is that the Cowboys have just leaned way, way too far into that entertainment lane.
Man, you can just feel the frustration in these words, right? This isn't just being disappointed. This is feeling genuinely embarrassed. The source argues that while all these other teams were out there getting better in the offseason, the Cowboys just didn't. And that leads to this incredibly harsh take on where the team is headed. And to really hammer this point home, the source uses this pretty intense metaphor. But think about it. The team is loaded with talent and has these huge expectations every single year. That's the promise. But every year, it ends the same way, with another postseason failure. It's a really vivid way to describe a cycle of hope and disappointment that just feels stuck.
This team is embarrassing, okay? Simple as that. This team is embarrassing. This team is a toilet that is full of shit and piss and won't flush. It's got failure written all over this season, worse than last season, because remember, I said this was going to happen last season. And I want to see change, but I don't see them doing nothing to change.
All right, so if that's the culture, what's the fallout? What does it do to the fan base? Well, according to this critique, it's created a very specific condition, one the source calls the hopium epidemic.
So what exactly is hopium? Well, it's a mix of hope and, opium. And it's used here to describe that state of mind where fans, no matter how much evidence they see, convince themselves that this is the year, this is the one.
What is hopium? Okay, I wish I had, first of all, shout out to Teflon. Me and Teflon we was cracking jokes. Hopium is delusion. Hopium is Cowboy Nation. Hopium is looking at this team thinking that they stand a chance of doing anything.
And this brings up a really key point in the argument. It tries to separate Cowboy Nation, the group supposedly hooked on this hopium, from the fans who want a real culture and actual progress. It's a critique of a mindset that's willing to accept hype as a replacement for real, tangible success.
And look, this frustration isn't just about a couple of bad seasons. The whole hopium argument is fueled by decades of this stuff. We're talking about a franchise that has not been to an NFC championship game since 1996. This long, painful pattern of disappointment is the evidence that's driving this entire critique.
Okay, so we've got the circus as the problem and hopium as the symptom. So what's the root cause of it all? Well, the source points the finger squarely at the top, arguing that this whole mess comes from a total breakdown in leadership. And look, the criticism isn't just pointed at one person. It really starts at the top, with Jerry and Stephen Jones, who control everything. But it also trickles down to the player leaders on the field, guys like Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb, who are accused of adding to the drama instead of stopping it. And that criticism goes right into how they build the team. The source absolutely slams what they call the friends and family plan, hiring homies or bringing back old fan favorites who are past their prime like Ezekiel Elliott. The argument is that these moves are about feeling comfortable, not about making the tough, smart decisions to build a championship roster. And to show you just how deep this problem allegedly goes, the source brings up this supposed leaked audio from practice. It's used as proof that there's a serious lack of discipline and, maybe more importantly, a breakdown of respect for the team's leaders, all the way up to the quarterback.
Now you done hired another Dak Prescott homie and Lyle. Listen, I was a Lyle Collins fan, but Lyle Collins is done. 32 years old. In NFL years, man, he might as well be 60. It's like going to get Jack Young, Orlando Pace right now. Not Orlando Pace. You would have got Orlando Pace right now. Nah. Stop hiring your homies. Stop listening to that. If Trayvon Diggs referred to your quarterback as a bitch-ass nigga last year in Oxnard, I can't trust your leadership. If your premier wide receiver, one of the best in the league, is telling his mama that the quarterback sucks, been saying it enough for her to write Dak ain't it, and to be fussing openly with the dude last year, you damn sure ain't a leader.
So, after breaking down the culture, the fans, the leadership, where does that leave us? The source gives a final prediction, and it's not pretty. The outlook is pretty bleak. Just that. Fourth. And let's be clear, that's not just a prediction for another early playoff exit. No, that's a prediction for a complete and total collapse, finishing dead last in their division, the NFC East. It's about the biggest vote of no confidence you could possibly give. So why such a grim prediction? Well, it all comes down to what the competition is doing. The argument is pretty simple. Rivals like the Eagles and even the Commanders went out and made big moves to get better. And by comparison, the Cowboys just look like they stood still while everyone else in the division moved forward.
And I don't look at the Commanders or the Eagles or even the Giants. I don't look at them with envious eyes. I look at them as organizations that are making improvements to their team to compete for a fucking Vince Lombardi trophy. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, they're more happy with getting front ESPN. We're going to start off ESPN. We're going to get Stephen A. We're going to get all these people to talk about us first. Then you can talk about everything. They're media whores. You can give Micah Parsons $500 million. Does that equal Super Bowls? Matter of fact, I'll take it one step back. Does it equals wild card wins, divisional round wins, conference championship wins and or appearances? It doesn't, none of it. None of this shit. Not Oxnard, none of this shit. Not that game Saturday against the Rams, none of it. At the end of the day, what are we going to do? Do I look at this team and say, yeah, we're contenders? No. We got oodles and noodles of NFC East titles. That ain't shit. We have not. Some of y'all weren't even born yet the last time the Cowboys won a divisional round game. I tell everybody, y'all too busy. A lot of y'all are too busy looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. And honestly, you're looking at the Eagles and the Commanders. But you're not looking at them on a competition level. You're looking at them with jealous. You're looking at it with jealous and envy. And that's not how I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them like, all right, we got to step our game up. They stepping their game up. We are a shit show. And they have done nothing to improve Personally, I just think they look fourth place.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The final big claim is that ownership's priorities are just all wrong. That the hunger for headlines, for camera time, for being the main event in the NFL soap opera has officially won out over the goal of actually building a disciplined, winning football culture.
So at the end of the day, it leaves us with this really interesting question to think about. Is this kind of raw, unfiltered smackdown a necessary reality check for a team and a fan base that might be lost in its own hype? Or does a rant this loud and this passionate just become another act in the very media circus it claims to hate? That's the paradox right at the center of the Dallas Cowboys today.